Real quick before we get into the video, I wanted to let you guys know that I teamed up with my friend Blake from Loudmouth Threads to come up with the very first official Jimmy Champane t-shirt. Now, instead of doing what the normal YouTuber does and putting my name and face on a shirt to make you a walking advertisement, together we came up with a logo for the Haddonfield Haunted Hayride. There's Easter eggs in there from Halloween, Halloween 4, and the Blair Witch Project, pretty much every movie that I like talking about on my channel. And then there are a couple little Easter eggs for my channel, like calling it the 4th annual hayride because my channel's 4 years old, and then we put a little JC on top of the sign. Now, I'm not making any profit from this. I told Blake he could keep whatever money the shirts make. We just wanted to make a t-shirt that we would wear and that hopefully you guys would want to wear too to celebrate Halloween, because it's so much fun to talk about and it's the best time of year. So if you want one of these t-shirts for yourself, go head down to the link in the description. Halloween Kills filming looks like it's going great, and thankfully Blumhouse has managed to figure out how to plug all those leaks we've been seeing for the past month. And when it comes to those leaks or even official posts that we've seen so far, I'm doing my best to avoid anything that will spoil big moments from the movie, because I don't like that and I don't think you guys do either. And we all know how bad Universal was about that when Halloween 2018 came out. It felt like we saw every moment Michael was on screen by the time we even got into the theater. It's been about a week since I've done a video and the dust has kind of settled on the filming side of things, so I thought it'd be fun today if I took stock of everything we know so far and kind of told you guys what's true and what isn't. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 25,000 Thorn Cult members by the end of the year. The first thing we have to talk about, of course, is a flashback scene. Now, I've been predicting for months that we are going to see a flashback to 1978 in Halloween Kills, but once they started casting all these different characters who we haven't caught up with in around 40 years, I was pretty positive we are going to see one. And then there were the casting calls for 60s and 70s era cars, which would make sense for a 1978 flashback because most of the cars on the road at that time would be from the late 60s or early 70s. And then we saw a few leaks, which I'm not going to show or talk about, and yeah, we definitely are getting a flashback to the original Halloween. Now, along with that flashback comes an interesting problem for Blumhouse and David Gordon Green to solve. So we already know that Jamie Lee Curtis and Kyle Richards and Charles Cyphers are all coming back to reprise the respective roles, but there is one person who really can't come back and reprise his role, and that's Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis. So naturally, what people want to know is if Blumhouse and the team behind Halloween Kills will go so far as to find a lookalike for Dr. Loomis that we will see in this flashback. I mean, we already know that they're not adverse to fleshing out Dr. Loomis's character even more than he has been in the original movie, because that's exactly what they did in Halloween 2018. They came up with new lines for the character to be played over a montage, and they got a guy who sounds a lot like Donald Pleasence to record those. So who's to say they couldn't find a guy who looks a lot like Donald Pleasence and shoot cleverly so that they can dub over him maybe speaking the lines and then dub over it with that sound alike to make it look like Dr. Loomis is back in 1978. Personally, I don't know if I want that to happen, and I definitely don't think it needs to happen, and it does have the potential of coming off forced. I mean, think about it. In the original Halloween back in 1978, Dr. Loomis never really manages to catch up with Michael until the very last second of the movie. For most of it, he's teamed up with Sheriff Brackett, kind of looking around, going to the Myers house, heading around Haddonfield to try and find Michael and finally kill him. And if you think about it, going back to the original movie, they only have a very slim time frame to work with if they want to include scenes of Michael killing people, because Michael goes after Laurie towards the end of the movie, and from that point forward, he is stalking Laurie because she continually gets away. So whatever they film basically has to be between Annie and Linda. It has to be around that time frame in the original movie. Adding in a scene like that makes a lot of sense to me because it not only gives them the opportunity to include more kills featuring Michael Myers, which is what we all want, but it also gives them a way to reintroduce these characters who we haven't technically seen for 40 years. I know a lot of them popped up throughout the franchise, and we've had Halloween movies every few years since the original, but in this timeline, we haven't seen them in 40 years, so they need to be reintroduced. The weird thing though is that if they do add in any kills during the flashback, they're technically retconning Michael's body count and increasing it, but again, I don't really care about that all that much because I really want to see Michael kill more people, and increasing his body count back in the 70s makes him more scary in 2020 when Halloween Kills releases. And honestly, it just feels like a great nostalgia moment to have the original shape costume with the original shape mask going around Haddonfield in 1978 and murdering some teenagers. There is always the chance that they could screw it up, but honestly, Christopher Nelson knows what he's doing when it comes to making the iconic Michael Myers mask, and I feel like it would actually be easier for him to make a clean one that resembles the mask in the original movie than it was to age it down like 40 years and include all that grime and dirt and make it sag a little bit and guess what the hair would look like. I feel like that was probably more of a challenge than it would be for him to make the original mask that we know and love. And another problem the flashback would solve is the fact that a lot of people seem to be iffy on the idea of Michael wearing a burned, melted mask for the entire movie. We don't know if that's what they're going to go with, but based on the fact that there was a fire at the end of Halloween 2018 engulfing him completely in flames, I'd say it's safe to bet that there will be more damage in this movie than there was in 2018. So by including a flashback, everyone kind of gets what they want. You get the clean mask with Michael going around Haddonfield murdering teens, and then the people who are like continuity sticklers like I kind of am get to see a mask that is melted and burned and evolved from the Halloween 2018 mask, and I think that's cool. And going back to Halloween 2018, I remember being kind of bummed last year when the people involved with it said that they had an idea for a flashback to start the movie that would kind of tweak the ending of the original a little bit, you know, introduce a young Hawkins, show us how Michael got captured, and then they decided not to do it. But now I'm kind of happy they didn't do it because they'll be able to go so much bigger with it this year. It really comes down to the way that Blumhouse makes movies. So when you sign on as a director for them, you generally get a budget of around $5 million. And if your movie does really well, like 90% of Blumhouse's movies do, you get contracted for a sequel, which then has double the budget at around $10 million bucks. A good example of this is that Get Out got $5 million, but then Us got bumped all the way up to $20 million. But if you look at M. Night Shyamalan, he got around $5 million to do The Visit, then he got $10 million to do Split, and then he got $20 million to do Glass. They like rewarding you for doing well and having your movies and ideas make a ton of money, so then they know that if you make a sequel, you'll probably have more people coming in to watch, so they give you a little bit more of a leash with the budget. Running with that logic, even though David Gordon Green was a newcomer to Blumhouse, he got $10 million to work with for Halloween, and that's probably because Halloween kind of guarantees you'll make your money back. It's an established IP that they were working with, so it was a little bit different. So I'd assume that for Halloween Kills and probably Halloween Ends, he's working with at least $20 million, which is a big budget increase. It's double the budget. What I don't hope that budget increase went towards was bringing back all these different actors. I mean, none of them are really A-list celebrities, so they probably aren't demanding huge salaries for this movie, but what I would want all of this new money to go towards is bigger set pieces, more kills, and making sure that goddamn flashback looks exactly like Halloween 1978. Like, I want them to be able to take this flashback and just slot it where it goes into the movie and have us barely be able to tell the difference. I know I'm setting my expectations a little high there, but they know what they're doing. And going back to Dr. Loomis, over the past week there's been this picture going around on Twitter and Instagram of a guy who's in Wilmington who is at a barber shop who looks a lot like Donald Pleasance. But unfortunately, Ryan Turek said on his Twitter and Instagram that that guy is not involved with Halloween Kills in any way. And honestly, I never really believed that he was, because if you look at this guy, while he does look like Donald Pleasance, he looks a lot like the Halloween 6 Donald Pleasance. So if they were going to use him in Halloween Kills, he'd have to look like the 1978 Donald Pleasance, and fact of the matter is he doesn't. And on top of that, we got an update on Jamie Lee Curtis's Instagram where she's dressed up as Laurie Strode, and the important thing to note there is that she's wearing the exact same outfit from the end of Halloween 2018. And the reason that's important is because if there was any doubt that this movie was going to be its own Halloween 2 and pick up right at the end of Halloween 2018, it should be gone now, because she's obviously going straight to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital from the end of last year's movie, and that makes me really excited. We also got a picture that finally confirms Charles Cyphers is coming back as Sheriff Brackett. If you remember, Tom Atkins said a couple months ago that he heard that was happening, but now we got confirmation because Charles Cyphers was on set. I just love how happy he looks in this picture, and I do think it was important to bring him back for at least Halloween Kills, because now that Halloween 2 is out of the timeline, we never see his reaction to Annie being killed by Michael Myers. That's a great revenge motive, which is exactly what it seems like they're going for, bringing back all these characters. So it would have felt weird if he wasn't involved in this movie at all. As for when we'll see a poster or a teaser, I think it'll actually be pretty soon. Because of all the leaks, they probably want to get something official out there, and we're right around the same time that Halloween 2018 was in filming when we got that first poster featuring Michael's mask that got everyone so excited. I think that was actually the first first video I ever did on Halloween 2018, so I'd love to do a new one of those for Halloween Kills. Regardless though, it's crazy that we're going to be seeing this movie in less than a year. I'm super excited, and honestly, I thought they released something about it last weekend because that was the 1-year anniversary of Halloween 2018, which is crazy to think about that it's already been a year since that movie came out. I'm glad they have an increased budget. I hope that gives them more breathing room to do the ideas they want to do, and I hope that Universal and Trancast specifically trust David Gordon Green more with the property this time around because he's already proven he can get it right. Anyway guys, let me know what you think about all these updates down in the comments below, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Help me get to 25,000 by the end of the year. That's all I got for you today, so as always, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Shape on.